The island of Sodor was in the midst of a big freeze. The snow was heavy and stuck fast. The coast seemed to escape the brunt of the heavy drifts, but further inland didn't. Thomas's branch line suffered the worst. "Oh, if the drifts get any heavier, we'll need an engine stronger than you to deal with them," sighed Thomas's driver. Thomas was secretly relieved at the thought of this. He hated snow. "Silly soft stuff," he groaned. The driver was right. A week later, Thomas got stuck, even with his snowplow. The branch line was forced to close. Duck, the Great Western engine, was sent to help. He was much stronger than Thomas and handled the biggest drifts with ease. The engines were glad of his help and the line reopened. Even with Duck clearing the branch line, the local schools remained closed. This meant there were lots of children playing near the railway. The engines enjoyed seeing the children tobogganing, throwing snowballs, and best of all, building snowmen. Duck arrived at the junction after clearing the line. There were lots of children on the platform. "Look at this, Duck," they called. "We've built a snowman." "And a mighty fine one he is too," chuckled Duck. "Watch out he doesn't board a train," they teased. The children laughed and ran happily home. Percy pondered for a moment. Can he what? Board a train? "Oh, bless you, no," laughed Duck. "I was just checking is all." "Snowmen are made up of frozen water," explained Thomas. "They aren't real. They can't come alive." "Well, I'm not so sure," grinned Duck. "Some children believe they come alive at night. I've heard they can even walk in the air." "Rubbish," hissed Thomas. "Snowmen can't come alive." "And yet at Christmas, we believe reindeer can fly," said Duck simply. Thomas didn't reply. The guard's whistle blew and he puffed away. Both engines and passengers enjoyed the company of the snowman at the station. Duck would always whistle happily to it. Thomas, on the other hand, would eye it up suspiciously. One day, Percy was scampering along hauling a small goods train. As he approached the junction, he saw a red lamp on the platform. "Something must be wrong," thought Percy. "I'd better stop." He did so, much to the surprise of his driver and fireman. "Come on, Percy," his driver called. "We're not supposed to stop here." Percy looked ahead. There was the snowman with a red lamp. Thomas arrived on the other platform. "Oh, my mistake," muttered Percy nervously. But as Percy set off again, he suddenly swerved into the siding. His driver quickly applied the brakes. The crew inspected the points. "Look at that," gasped the fireman. "They're frozen solid. We could have had a nasty accident if Percy hadn't stopped beforehand." "Well done, old boy," cheered the driver. "The snowman warned me," exclaimed Percy. "It was all thanks to him." "Nonsense," snorted Thomas. "This snowman isn't alive. How could he have warned you? It was just a coincidence the lamp was next to him. The station master must have put it there." Percy wasn't so sure. The story spread fast. Duck thought it a great joke. Overnight, the snow came down even heavier. The next morning, Duck worked hard to clear the line. He was resting in the siding as Thomas was waiting impatiently for Henry's train. There was no one on the platform. "I can't be kept waiting all day. If Henry doesn't arrive in the next minute, then I'm off," huffed Thomas. Still, Henry didn't come. That's it. Thomas prepared to leave. At that moment, Henry rounded the bend. He was just beyond the platform when Thomas was suddenly called back. Thomas immediately halted. Both he and Duck looked towards the station. There was no one there. Only the Snowman. He looked at them, and they looked at him. "What's the big idea of leaving my passengers behind?" snapped Henry. "You're supposed to be a guaranteed connection." Thomas discreetly shunted his train back towards the platform. "Who blew the whistle?" whispered Thomas to Duck. Duck smiled. "Why don't you ask him?" Thomas became apprehensive and quickly scurried away. Soon the snow lightened, and Thomas could manage the drifts by himself again. Duck was to return to his own branch line. "It'll be sad when the snow melts," said Duck. "You won't have your snowy friend anymore, but I suppose, if he really wanted to, he could always board a train for colder climates." "Now that's perhaps a little too far-fetched," said Thomas. "Strange things may have happened, but he can't start walking around. That would be impossible." "Look!" cried Percy. "The snowman's gone!" You don't think he..." Duck said nothing. He just grinned at the two engines and puffed happily away.